I had some comments that I asked a little indulgence because based on some of the things that have just been said. What I wanted to say is this is about fairness, and our members chose to be represented by this local union. Last year, we called a quickie vote to have people recertified. You didn't even bother in 3 of the units because you knew the support was so strong that people wanted to have a contract and they wanted to have their terms and conditions in a collective bargaining contract. We don't think it is fair to have the board be the final arbiter of a grievance procedure, and this is about fairness, and it is about having a contract or contracts that are enforceable and fair to people. I don't know of any contract where a party to the contract makes a final decision in a dispute. I don't know whether it's a business contract. I don't know of anything that exists like that. On the comment about our negotiations and the superintendent. First of all, to say that 15% of our people eligible for union membership do not want to pay dues is simply untrue. That's the number that you used at the beginning where you said 93. We have demonstrated to you in black and white what the actual figures are, and it's actually about 59 people have not signed up. There's about, I believe the number is 19 in the secretarial unit that never had to get out in the first place. There's about 40 others that had gotten hired where our members thought they were being signed up, our stewards did. And so we've got about 59. That is simply not 15%, but that's a number, a percentage that keeps getting thrown out there that is simply inaccurate. And neither one of these now huge issues were issues last year. And I think that's significant, and I think that some of the people in this room understand why they're issues and they weren't issues last year. In fact, last year, a majority of this board said they didn't want an open shop. And just with the comment relative to the U.S. Supreme Court, just because the United States Supreme Court decides to hear a case doesn't say how they're going to decide a particular case. And so that is this time next year we would get any decision on that. But we remove that as an issue because we have proposed and did it because you said 2 major issues. We made a move on the union security issue, so that couldn't be used as a boogeyman. We're forcing people to pay dues that really don't want to. And yeah, we did, because we're not going to bargain against ourselves. We did say, we'll do this, and this, and it was tied to another, at the arbitration procedure. I want to clear up in terms of the 4 different things. We're not leaving arbitration final binding at the final step. We have thrown out because you all had said something about the cost. We threw out a 3-member panel system that could be very little cost. Whenever I've heard that one board member told me that arbitration was costing you $20,000. If that's the case, that's because what you're paying your attorney, because a typical arbitration will cost on the low end for the arbitrator's fees, on the low end about $4,000, and on the high end maybe $8,000 or $9,000, and each side pays 50% of those costs. So to say that it's costing $20,000 means that you're paying your attorney a hefty fee. And again, keep in mind, we've had 5 in 43 years. Now, with the comment about having a partner, we've been a pretty good partner over the years, I think, in terms of working with this board and working with this school corporation and being supportive. You all know, certainly Mike and others, whenever we had the referendum where you reached out for our support, and we did above and beyond the call of duty to work to get the referendum passed. You all know that what we've done in terms of supporting the EVSC Foundation, but it takes a 2-way street, and I can't control the actions of what the superintendent does in terms of the relationship that we have. When he became the superintendent, I was told by board members that he was asked to have a relationship with the union community as much as he does with the business community. And I, along with Rick Boyles, had lunch with him one day and had a nice conversation. And then later, I never had another conversation with him at all. And we get into negotiations last year, and everything turned into a hardline issue. So we certainly like to have good relations, and we work at relations, but that simply can't be pinned on Teamsters Local 215. The thing I would say is it takes people working together to get an agreement. I think that, number one, we should extend the agreement and keep working towards an agreement. I think we should utilize the services of the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, the people that are professionals in terms of helping sometimes in difficult negotiations, get the parties together. But for there to be some threat to withdraw recognition is the very reason that we have a number of people that aren't just Teamster members here tonight that care about what's going on in this community. And they don't care for the threats that are being made, and they don't think that it's a fair system whenever, even though you all are elected, and I'm sure you're all good people, it doesn't mean that should be set in a situation where you're the arbiter of a case. City council doesn't do that. County council, mayors, no elected officials do that, and they interact with their governmental units very similar to what you do. I just ask, get this thing back down to earth, and we get to the bargaining table, because these people want to be treated with dignity and respect and fairness. And last year when we had the vote, Superintendent Smith said at that night to the news media, we respect the wishes of our employees, and we will follow their wishes. And they chose to be represented by this local. And we are not a bunch of wild-eyed crazy people. We know how to get agreements. We do it. We've done it for years. You can twist whatever words you want to say, that I think that many of you know me. And I don't think most of you people would say I'm a dishonest person. I have dealt with many of you, and I think that you understand that I deal with you straight up. I don't lie to you. I don't try and do anything other than to honestly and fairly represent our members. And that's all we're trying to do now. And that's all we're asking is a little, be able to work with one another. And the final thing I'd ask, and I appreciate you letting me go more than 3 minutes, Mike. The final thing I'd ask is for the school board to stop this embargo on dealing with the public, for you not to communicate with the public and not communicate with us is simply not how you ever get through these difficult issues. Because we've had too many times where we've been able to clear up misunderstandings by having some conversations. So with that, I'd ask to get back to the bargaining table and try to get these things resolved, as we know we're capable of doing. So thank you so much for your time.